robots, transform and roll out!
Hey guys, TZ117 back here again with another tutorial video, and today we will be focusing on epoxy putty. Now I know some of you are thinking, especially those new to customizing and modeling in general, epoxy putty seems kind of hard to master or get your head around because, you know, it's more complicated than just standard like plow plates and whatever, and even I felt that way when I first started using epoxy putty. But don't worry, this video will help you get on your way. So, first question, what is epoxy putty? Epoxy putty is something like basic putty, but it has a wider range of usages. The basic putty is like more or less just used to fill up small holes and everything, but epoxy putty you can use to fill up holes, big or small, scratch build, extend parts, you know, like extend the length or shape, reshape stuff, you know, extendo, bendo, magical things. Like example, on my gym trainer, I extended the top part of the cockpit area here, like the torso. It's actually supposed to be slanted down like that, but I made it slightly curved up. So that's how I reshaped it, and also filled out the indent on the chest and made it all nice and flat. So that's kind of what epoxy putty does, and as you can do it in a myriad of ways. It's all up to the builder himself. So without further ado, how do you use epoxy putty? I guess that's the reason why you're here. Epoxy putty is separated into two parts. One is the brown poop diarrhea putty, and the other one is the white guy. So yeah, we have to mix those two together, but later. We don't mix the whole thing because you would be wasting putty. And then the tools that you will need is the hobby knife, sandpaper, and water. Now you might be wondering, why are we using water? Well, you'll get to know later. So the way that you go about using the putty, depending on how big your piece is or what you want to do, you will just take a small amount of the putty using the knife, just cut out however which way size you want. It's all up to you. And then, as you notice, the putty is protected by these little plastic things in between. So just kind of peel them out. Some of the putty might actually stick onto the plastic, but that's okay because we don't care about failures. Alright, so we have both pieces cut out and made into tiny little balls. And rule of thumb, make sure that both putties are of equal amount when you mix them. If not, it'll just turn out bad and you will be called failure by everyone you know and love. Before we start mixing, you kind of notice that the putty's kind of sticky, and that's not a good sign, because when you're trying to form and mold putty on parts, if it gets too sticky, you'll have a hard time making the shape that you want. So to work around that problem, this is where the water comes in. You just kind of dip your hands in the water, and the water will prevent your hands from sticking to the putty. And now, since you have full power against the pathetic putty monsters, you will now just simply mash them together like so. Just kind of knead them together in a one-to-one mix. Just keep kneading. Just do whatever you want. You can even do a little tune. Do you remember when it was last September? I'll be the roundabout. Once you're done putting both parts together, you should be getting this kind of color. It's like a very light, it's like a tannish kind of putty color. So now we have the fully moldable and active piece of epoxy putty. And now all you have to do is just simply put it on the piece. So I'm just gonna like randomly put it however I want, because I'm not actually gonna use this for anything. I'm just using this solely for the purpose of the tutorial. So I'm just gonna lay it on here, at least maybe try and make a shape out of it, make it look professional. Right, so maybe example, I wanted to extend the shape of the Stark Jagan armor, right? So just kind of make the putty into the general shape of the extension which you want to make, like that, and then just let it dry for 12 hours. Yes, I know 12 hours sounds really long, but trust me, it's worth the wait. Rule of thumb, if you want a quick drying, and when I mean quick, I mean like 12 hours the least, I would ask you to get Tamiya Epoxy Putty Quick Type. The Quick Type is the one which only requires 12 hours to dry. I got the standard epoxy putty from Tamiya. That was the first time I tried epoxy putty, and it was not a good experience. I don't know why. I don't know what I did wrong, but even after 12 hours or even 24 hours of using the standard epoxy putty, it didn't dry. It was still like soft and not able to sand, and it fell apart when I tried to move it around. So maybe either I didn't mix it right, or the standard epoxy putty like takes a few days to dry. I don't know, maybe like those who are intelligent in this stuff, maybe you guys can inform me of my idiocy in the comments. I'm stupid! Just wait for 12 hours and then you can start sanding. And since that I am smart and I'm not gonna wait 12 hours just to finish this video, I actually made a piece beforehand yesterday night for the sole purpose of this video. So I made another batch of epoxy putty and put it on the Stark Jagan's forearm armor. Yeah, so this is fully hardened. You see it's not soft anymore, it's totally hard. And all you have to do now is sand the piece down into the exact shape that you want, and that's where the sanding block comes in, or the sandpaper if you want. I prefer sand blocks because it's easier for me to sand on flat surfaces. I prefer sandpaper for like more curved pieces, but that's just for me. So yeah, let's go sand this piece down and we'll get back to you later. Alright, and after 20 minutes of sanding, this is what you get. The Jagan's forearm armor extended using epoxy putty. Just sanding down into the general shape of what the armor was, you know, using these sides as a guideline for how the epoxy putty should be sanded down to. And this is what you should get when you try extending with epoxy putty, or this is what you should get when using putty in general, not just a hard piece of putty on your pieces that looks awesome and groovy, especially after you prime it because it's all in one color. So yeah, this is how you use epoxy putty. It's pretty simple.
It's that easy.
So yeah, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more, please subscribe. If you have anything to say about this tutorial or have any tutorials you want me to do in the future, please put them in the comment section below. I hope this video helped you a lot, and TZ signs out into Cybertron. Yes.